Hey guys, it's Kerry. So I just made a video covering this new bill that City Council is putting out. It actually comes from the Parks Department. They're revamping the rules about the tour companies stopping at beach parks. And so it's Bill 19, year 2023. So it's coming up for first reading at City Council. It's 28 pages because they're totally revamping the way things are being done, and so it took me a while to comb through it, and the video ended up being kind of long. It was almost an hour, but I'm going to put the links to the bill, the proposed bill, in the description, so make sure you can read it for yourself. It's 28 pages, but I've combed through it to figure out what it's actually saying. So check out those links and make sure you stay to the end to see my rant at the end, where I kind of sum up everything about how we feel as tour companies, and how things should be done versus how they're actually being done. So check out the links, check out the rant at the end. Sorry it went so long, but I covered everything because it's a total revamp of the rules. Hey guys, Kerry here. So I'm going to be covering this new bill that City Council is doing about the parks and the commercial stops for tour companies. It's Bill 19, year 2023. And so this is on the agenda for the City Council meeting for March 15th, Wednesday. So this was the email. So this is it here. So this was sent to Tommy Waters from Laura Thielen, the director of the Parks Department, the Honolulu Parks Department. And so this is the bill that she has put forward. It's 28 pages. The underlined areas like this are the changes. So the places where there's no underline, so that's the existing ordinance, and then all of the places that are underlined, that's to denote what the new change is. And anywhere where there's something crossed out, that is how it is currently, and then the cross out is saying that we're going to delete this and we're going to add the part that's underlined. So this bill, Bill 19, is pretty much just rewriting all of the rules about how tour companies can visit parks and beach parks, and how they can get a permit. So the way that it currently is that it used to be that you could get a permit for a tour company to be able to stop at a park or beach park to do what they call a recreational stop. And I used to get this permit years ago, where when they gave me the permit, that permit allowed me to stop at any of the parks or beach parks on the whole island, any of my vehicles, and I had to reapply for this thing monthly. And then it stated on the permit specific beaches where you were not allowed to go to even with the permit. Some of those places were the Hawaiian homestead lands in Waimanalo and Nanakuli. And it also said undeveloped beach parks such as Lahi Lahi Point. So undeveloped means it doesn't have facilities like a restroom in a parking lot. So that's how it used to be. You could get this one permit. It covered all of the vehicles in the tour company, and you could stop at any of the beach parks as long as it wasn't stated on the permit that you can't go to these specific ones. Then in 2011, they passed a bill saying that tour companies could not come to the beaches in Kailua on the weekend. Then in 2012, they passed a law saying that tour companies could not come to the beaches in Kailua ever. And then a couple of years later, they passed a law saying that the tour companies could not come to any of the beaches in Waimanalo either, from Makapu'u all the way to Bellows. Then they played around with the idea of allowing tour companies into Waimanalo Bay Beach Park as kind of a, since they had already banned us from all of the beaches in Kailua and all of the beaches in Waimanalo. So that meant all the way from Makapu'u Beach Park, all the way to Bellows, Lani Kai, all the way to Castle Point, just short of the Marine Corps base. And then after that is Kaneohe Bay, where there are no beaches. So then after Sandy Beach, the next place that a tour company could stop at a beach would be at Kualoa Beach Park by Chinaman's Hat. So, I mean, that there banned us from the entire East Coast. Then, a couple of years later, they passed a bill banning the tour companies from all of the beaches on the North Shore, from Sunset Point all the way to Kaiaka Point in Waialua. So yeah, that banned us from the entire North Shore, from Sunset Beach all the way to past Haleiwa Beach Park, Ali'i Beach Park. So now this new bill, actually the part where it used to specifically, list all of those places that, one by one they banned us from, now they've crossed all of that out and they've just rewritten the whole thing. And so now it applies to all parks and beach parks. And so now you don't have to name them, individually. This new rule will apply to all of them. And so basically what it does is now, in order for a tour company to stop at a beach park, you have to have a permit no matter how long you stay. It used to be that as long as it wasn't one of the beach parks that we were totally banned from, you were allowed to make a 15-minute stop in order for the people to go to the restroom or something, or just maybe take a quick picture and get back into the van, as long as you didn't exceed 15 minutes. But I guess now, because there's nobody out here enforcing these rules, that if they were to come upon a tour company that was at a beach park, they could always just say, well, I haven't been here more than 15 minutes, because there wouldn't have been anybody there to monitor to know what time they started being there. So now this new bill says that you can't be at any beach park no matter how long without a permit. So that means that all of the tour companies are going to have to go in and apply for permits. I mean, even make one stop at one beach park. So I'm going to go through this. So it's 28 pages. So the purpose of the ordinance is to codify the primary purpose of the city and county of Honolulu parks, which is to serve the recreational needs in public. So the important part here is by which certain commercial activities may be permitted within the city's public parks. So this bill is specifically about commercial activities. So going on to page 2. So this is all standard stuff, and there's nothing outlandish in here yet. Page 3. Page 3, recreational stops. So recreation. So this is in the definitions. This is defining what a recreational stop is: entering, parking, standing, or stopping for any length of time at any park, beach right-of-way, or unimproved park lands managed by the department, except for Hanauma Bay and Halona Blowhole Lookout, by operators of commercial or non-commercial vehicles sized to carry 12 or more occupants, or by licensed motor carrier for activities in the park or adjacent to the park that may include but not limited to sightseeing, spectating, picture taking, beachcombing, swimming, guided tours, or eating of prepared meals. So there's a little bit of a problem with grammar here. So it looks like it's saying that this only applies to tour companies who have vans that carry 12 or more occupants. So it sounds like if you have a vehicle that only carries less than 12 people, that none of these rules apply to you. But there's a little bit of a problem with the grammar here. So by operators of commercial or non-commercial vehicles sized to carry 12 or more occupants, comma, or by licensed motor carrier. So a licensed motor carrier, that's like a tour company that has a PUC permit. So they have the PUC markings on the side of their van. So I don't know, the way that this is worded with that comma there, by operators of commercial or non-commercial vehicles sized to carry 12 or more occupants, comma, or by licensed motor carrier for activities in the park. So the way that it says that, I mean, that second part makes it sound like it could apply to all PUC permit tour companies. So they need to fix that grammar there. But I think what they're trying to say there is that it only applies to tour companies who are using vans that can carry 12 or more occupants. And then I think later it says up to 25 passenger would be allowed to get a permit. You'd be able to get a permit if you had a vehicle that carried between 12 and 25 passengers, as long as that vehicle can fit into one parking spot. So I'll go on to the next page. Page 4, nothing crazy on there. Page 5, nothing crazy there. Okay, page 6, part B. So let's start part A. So section 3 is amended by as follows. Within the limits of any public park, it is unlawful for any person to, let me go down to B. Okay, so that's all of those things up there. Okay, so part B, except as authorized by permits and subject to the terms and conditions imposed by the Department of Parks and Recreation, it is unlawful for any person within the limits of any public park. So this sounds like it's applying to all parks, even if they're not even beach parks. It is unlawful for any person within the limits of any park to conduct a commercial activity for any length of time at any park, beach right-of-way, or unimproved parklands managed by the Department of parks and recreation. Okay, so I guess what they mean by any park, I guess that includes beach parks. So all parks, whether it's just a regular park, an inland park, or a beach park. So for any length of time, at any park, beach right-of-way. So a right-of-way is those pathways between the houses that allow access to the beach, or unimproved parklands managed by the Department of So in the definitions in the beginning, it defines the unimproved parklands as including parks that are adjacent or across the street from a beach. The best example I can think of is, or the first thing that it makes me think of is like the beach park that's at Sunset Beach. So that parking lot with the restrooms and the shower is not on the beach. It's across the street from the beach. So in their new definition of what an unimproved park is, it includes those kind of parks. 2. So now 3. So it is unlawful for any person within the limits of any park to conduct a commercial activity of any length at any park. 3. Make a recreational stop of any length of time at any park other than a beach park or beach support park where such is permitted. So the beach support park, that's what I was talking about, the ones that are adjacent or across the street from a beach. So you're not allowed to make a recreational stop of any length of time. So that means you can't even stop for 5 minutes to let the customers use the restroom. 4. Make a recreational stop of any length of time at a beach park or beach support park where such is permitted without a permit. So you would have to have, if you were going to stop at one of these places, you have to have a permit. And later on we'll learn that that permit has to specifically name that beach park and the date and time that you're going to be there. And while you're at one of these places, you're not allowed to advertise, pass out brochures, or have anything other than on the side of your vehicle your company name. You can't have any kind of advertising on your van saying, hey, check us out, this is what we offer, here's our phone number, that kind of thing. That all you can have on the side of your van while you're in one of these parks with a permit is just your company name. So now this is the page where they have now crossed out all of the specific places that they had one by one banned us from. So it started out with Kailua at Kailua Beach Park, Kalama, Lanikai, and then it went on to Waimanalo, but they got them in a different order. So these are the ones that they banned us from on the North Shore. So this is now overriding all of that. So here's the Waimanalo ones: Makapu'u, Kaupo, Kaiona, Waimanalo, Bellows. So all of those ones that they had previously banned us from one by one through the process of more than 3 different bills that all passed. So that is being superseded by these new rules. Because now the rules apply to all beach parks and parks. So that was page 9, 10. So I'm skipping over the things that don't apply to tour companies. The rest of that stuff applies to just, like the general public. Like, you're not allowed to go in there and sell things. You're not allowed to climb the trees. You're not allowed to play loud music. So 11. Commercial activities. Okay, so where's the start of this? For all public parks, let's see, meetings, gatherings. The foregoing provisions would not apply to the planning. Where am I at? 13. So 11. Commercial activities, provided that the commercial activities under the permit are, and then it skips way down here, authorized by this chapter is designated as authorized by the Department of Parks and Recreation. The department may impose permit conditions and place reasonable limitations on the size of the groups and the time and area within which the event is permitted, and all permitted commercial activity shall be subject to Department of Park Recreation rules and regulations regarding the solicitation of business, advertising, and commercial promotion activities. So yeah, so you're not allowed to advertise. 13. Recreational stops of any length of time at any beach park or beach support park. So some of this is repetitive, because it looks like they're rewriting not only the city ordinances, but the state laws as well. Let's see where the state laws start. It must be later. All right. 14. So 6. They're able to assess a reasonable fee for permits. The fee is intended to cover the cost associated with management and administration of the permittee's activities, including the cost of ensuring compliance with permit and regulatory conditions. The fee may also include the cost of the maintenance and repair of the park area, resources impacted. And so this is what I was talking about in Waimanalo, when they banned us from all the beaches, but then they were going to allow us to go to Waimanalo Bay Beach Park, and they were going to impose that $165 fee. So it was per month per vehicle. And when they first put that out, on the first draft of that, they said that they were going to use that money to ensure that people were following the rules at all of the other places that had already been banned, like Waimanalo Beach Park and Kailua and Kaiona and Kaupo and Makapu'u. But by the time that got to further on, people forgot about that. So they've reinserted this here, because this is one of the big problems, is that there has been nobody out here enforcing these rules. I have been applying for the permits and getting the permits for years, and I'm on my 11th or 12th year with my company doing tours, and not once in the history of my company has an official asked to see our permit, because there's nobody there. So now this is saying that the fee that they're going to be charging for these permits can be used for, upkeep of the park, but also the cost of ensuring compliance with permit and regulatory conditions. So that's actually a good thing, because some of these bans against tour companies at the parks has been because people are breaking the rules because there's nobody there enforcing the rules. Whenever any motor vehicle is parked, standing, or stopped in violation of this article, including but not limited to passenger vehicles making recreational stops in violation of ordinance 10 whatever without a displayed park permit for that location and for that time, or motor vehicles entry. So when you have the permit, so like if you're away from your vehicle doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're supposed to have the permit displayed on the dash of the vehicle so that somebody can look in and see that yes, you do have a permit and it is for this park and this date and time and such. Without a displayed park permit for that location and that time, then a police officer can give you a ticket if you don't have that. Uh, 17. Any person who violates or causes a vehicle to violate the following sections will be fined not less than $100, but not more than $500. Every hour a vehicle remains parked, stopped, or standing in violation of this shall constitute a separate violation for purposes. So they can give you a ticket every hour. Any person incurring more than 2 citations under this subsection within a 2-month period may be subject to a fine and by imprisonment for not more than 30 days upon conviction of the violation. So you get 2 violations in a month, or no, if you get more than 2 violations in a month, you could get a fine and up to 30 days in jail. This section regulates passenger vehicles capable of carrying 12 or more passengers and licensed motor carriers. See, that grammar needs to be fixed, because if they're talking about only licensed motor carriers who are using vehicles that can carry 12 or more passengers, then that grammar needs to be fixed, because and licensed motor carriers sounds like it covers all licensed motor carriers. So if they're meaning for this to only apply to licensed motor carriers who have vehicles capable of carrying 12 or more passengers, then they need to fix this grammar. No recreational stop shall be permitted at any of the following properties managed by the Department of Parks and Recreations: city and county owned or operated beach right-of-way. So right-of-way, from my understanding, is those paths that lead down to the beach. Any unimproved parklands managed by the Department of Parks and Recreation. Any public park located in the State Conservation Land Use District, and any public park other than a beach park or beach support park. Recreational stops for any duration of time at any city and county owned or operated beach park or beach support park require a permit issued by the department and shall only be permitted under the following conditions. Recreational stops shall be permitted only for passenger vehicles sized to carry more than 10 to 25 passengers, provided that the passenger vehicle can fit within a single standard-sized parking lot. Again, the grammar here, the way this is worded, it sounds like that they're only going to give permits to vehicles that are sized 10 to 25 passengers. But I think what they're trying to say here is that we will only give permits to vehicles who carry 10 to 25 passengers if they fit in a parking stall. But the way that this starts out, recreational stops shall be permitted only for passenger vehicles sized to carry. So what about the ones that are... Oh, wait a minute, that's 10. See, in the other rules, it was talking about 12. So, wait a minute. I thought that the permits only applied to 12 and above, and now we're coming down to 10. So that needs to be fixed. Which is it? Is it 10 or 12? So you can give a permit to 10, or it'll apply to 10, 11, and 12. Anyway, all right. C2. Recreational stops shall be permitted only on weekdays, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., excluding state and federal holidays. So you can't stay to see the sunset or the sunrise. So you can't watch the sunrise because you can't be there before 8 o'clock. And you can't watch the sunset because you can't be there after 5 p.m. And you can only do it on Monday through Friday. So if you were a tourist coming here wanting to take a tour on a Saturday and Sunday, too bad. 3. No more than 3 passenger vehicles displaying a permit for recreational stops may be parked in a beach parking lot at the same time. That makes sense. But how are they going to regulate? They can only issue 3. I guess they would have to do the honor system. I mean, if they give 5 permits to the same beach park, and all 5 or 4 different tour companies show up there in different vans at the same time, somebody's got to leave. Well, I guess if you're the person arriving and you see that there's already 3 there, you would have to leave until somebody else leaves. The maximum number, so number 4, the maximum number of passenger vehicles displaying a permit for recreational stops that may park in a beach parking lot is 10 vehicles per day. So if there's 15 permits out there for the same place, you can't have, just like one van coming and then leaving, and then another one coming and leaving, and another one coming and leaving. So only 3 at the same time, and only 10 for the entire day. Who's going to be there to monitor this? Because right now there is nobody. So 5, passenger vehicles permitted to make a recreational stop may display painted graphics. Okay, so this is saying that you can have your company name on the side of the van, but you can't advertise. Recreational stops shall not exceed 90 minutes. So that's been the rule, that if you have the permit and you're going to the permit to do a recreational stop, it's only up to 90 minutes. So you could get a permit for a certain city and county beach park, and you could go there and you could be there for 90 minutes, up to 90 minutes. So that's been the rule. So that's the same. But you have to have a permit in order to do that. Permits for recreational stops shall contain the name of the permittee. Okay, so this is all the same regular stuff, except that it does say it shall contain the name of the permittee and the vehicle license number. So that means that this permit is going to apply to a specific vehicle. Name of the permittee and the vehicle license number permitted for the recreational stop. The name of the park, so it's going to be the permit will be for a specific park. The dates and the specific time of the authorized for the recreational stop. So it's vehicle specific, park specific, and date and time specific. So most likely when they give these permits, even if you are lucky enough to get a permit, it would be for one vehicle, a specific vehicle, to go to a specific beach park. So if you're doing a Circle Island tour and you have that one permit for that one beach park, That is the only beach park you can even stop at, because now you're not even allowed to do the 15-minute stops that we were allowed to do before. So you can't even stop to let somebody out to take a picture or use the restroom, unless it's the specific beach park that you have a permit for. So if you're doing a Circle Island tour, even if you have a permit, you're only going to be allowed to stop at one beach park. 8. Making a recreational stop at any beach park or at any time not listed on the permit shall be a violation of this chapter, subject to citation in accordance with sections blah blah blah. Oh, and the director can designate certain beach parks or beach support parks temporarily closed to any recreational stops due to construction, repairs, other permitted for the protection, restoration, preservation of sensitive areas, or for the health, safety, and welfare of the public, provided written notice is provided. The department may adopt rules to implement this ordinance, including but not limited to further limiting the number of permits for recreational stops issued at particular parks or regions or time of day for the protection, restoration, preservation of sensitive areas for the health, safety, and welfare of the public. So they can further exclude recreational stops even with a permit. Banning recreational stops at certain beach parks for beach support parks for the purpose of protecting. So this is kind of repetitive. Limiting the types. Let's see what page was that. That was 19. So I'm on 20. Defining. So this is just telling how they can give out the permits, number of permits, may receive it. Okay, let me just read it. Defining eligibility criteria for applicants requesting permits for recreational stops, provided that only vehicles registered with the Public Utilities Commission, PUC, as passenger vehicles are eligible for permits for recreational stops. The number of permits any applicant may receive at one time, the method, which it'll probably be one, based on how the rules are now, which is this one here. So this is the rules that they wrote in 2020, and the way that they did it was they divided the island up into 5 districts, and there's a map at the end. So there's the map. So they divided it up into 5 districts, and they said that they can only issue 5 permits per district. So there's District 1, District 2, District 3 is the West Coast, District 4 is the entire East and North Shore. From Makapu'u all the way to the North Shore and all the way to Ka'ana Point is District 4. So for instance, in District 4, they can only issue 5 permits. So that's 1 permit per tour company. So that means that only 5 tour companies would be able to have a permit in that area. And that permit is specific to a specific vehicle. So that means 5 permits, 1 per tour company, and specific to a single van. So that means only 5 vehicles could have a permit for this entire district. 5 for this district, 5 for this district, which is Kalihi, and 5 for this district, which is like Aina Haina. I mean, who would want to stop at one of these beaches? I mean, there are no beaches pretty much in this one. Sand Island? I don't know. But anyway, it's ridiculous. So, oh, and then District 5 doesn't have any parks for which you can get a permit for. So this means that island-wide, the way that it stands right now, is that they can only issue 5, 10, 15, 20 permits. So that's only 20 vehicles on the whole island that can get permits. And so there's the breakdown. So that's the current rules on how they issue permits. The method to fairly allocate permits where demand exceeds available permits. So like if they'll only allow 5 permits in a district and 10 people apply for the permit, then what they would normally do is do a lottery where they can say, okay, well, you 5 get it. But while I've been applying for these permits, they've been telling me that I'm practically the only tour company that is even bothering to apply for these permits. So there's never been a time that I've submitted my permit where they've said, sorry, you didn't win the lottery. Because nobody else is applying. Nobody else is even bothering to follow these rules. All right, so 5, establishing the permit fee. So permit fee. The fee is intended to cover the cost. So this is all repetitive again, associated with the management and administration of permit activities, including the cost of ensuring compliance with permit and regulatory conditions. If a permit is revoked, the permittee shall be ineligible to apply for a permit for a minimum of 1 calendar year. All commercial activities within a park are subject to a system of regulation and shall not be allowed without first obtaining a permit for. So basically, you have to have a permit in order to be in the park. To be in the park, you have to have a permit. City and county. City and county owned or operated beach right of way, with the exception of commercial surf instructors. Oh, so they're allowing a exception for surf schools to use the beach right of ways. So I guess they figure that they're really only using the beach in order to go into the water in order to do the surf lessons. Therefore, this doesn't apply to them because they're going into the water and they're not using the beach. But some of these surf companies have been like setting up canopy tents on the beach and like practically using the beach as their office. So, but it looks like they're going to allow that to continue. D, commercial activities for any duration of time at any public park shall be permitted by the under the following conditions. So, commercial activities can only be allowed under these conditions. Commercial activities shall not be permitted between the days and hours. Oh, wait a minute. I think this just started the state rules. Yeah. So right here, this little symbol right here, where it says commercial activities and it's got that double S right there, I think this is now not city ordinance, but state law. And so this is all repetitive. So all of the same stuff that we just said is repeated here. Amending the state laws. I think that's my guess, because it's almost word for word. The only place that's weird, it's different, is this one here where it's let's see, D1. Commercial activity shall not be permitted between the days and hours from Saturday 1 p.m. through Monday 8 a.m. or on a state and federal holiday subject to any additional restrictions in this chapter. So before it had said, it had to be Monday through Friday. You could not do it on Saturday, Sunday, or holidays. But this is weird that this one now says from Saturday starting at 1 p.m. through Monday at 8 a.m. So that's weird. Page 22. So this is all repetitive now, because It's basically everything that we just said again, but I think applying to the state laws now instead of just the city ordinances. And I'll put the link to this in the description of the video where you guys can go read it for yourself. And man, if you guys find anything that I said that was wrong, or, you know, leave comments and let me know what you think. 24, 25, Section 9. Revised ordinances on fees for permits for recreational stops at Waimanalo. Oh, so that the one that I was talking about when they banned us from all of the beaches in Waimanalo, and then they started to allow us to go to Waimanalo Bay Beach Park if we paid $165 per month per vehicle, that is repealed. I don't remember when they repealed that. But anyway, so apparently we even currently, even before they passed this, because this is not a revision. This is how it stands now. So that's repealed now. But last time I was at the Parks Department applying for a permit, the lady got up to go ask somebody in the back a question because they don't know what they're doing down there. They have to go to people in the back and ask them, you know, hey, how are we doing this now? But anyway, when she got up to go ask the question, I couldn't help but see the stack of permits that she had in front of her that were spread out, so it was very easy for me to see them. And they were permits for photography and wedding events at Waimanalo Bay Beach Park. And I'm like, wait a minute, are we allowing that again? So I don't even know now. Things have changed so much. Oh, and then there's a part in here where it talks about commercial filming activities, and it pretty much allows it. Pretty much anything goes. They put a little bit of limitation on them. You know, you can't do it within a certain area unless you get approval for this or that. But commercial filming activities for like movies and stuff like that, that's okay. Local tour companies can't bring people to these beaches, but Hollywood companies from California can come here and they can go to the beach in order to film a movie. But local tour companies can't. All right, and so this is the end. This is introduced by Tommy Waters. It says somewhere that this was submitted by Tommy Waters, but by request. Maybe that's in the agenda. But so apparently this was given to Tommy Waters by the director of the Parks Department, Laura Thielen. So it looks like she has sat down for days and days and combed through all of the applicable parts of the city ordinances and everything, and gone through there, and this is her new master plan for how to regulate tour companies from stopping at the parks and city beach parks. So my big takeaway is it sounds like this is not going to apply to vehicles of less than 12? Was it 12? So like one of my vehicles is a 7-passenger van. So it sounds, yeah, so right here. It sounds like my 7-passenger van, I wouldn't even need a permit. I talked to the owner of another tour company, and he has a 12 passenger van. I have three 12 passenger vans, and I just recently bought two more 15 passenger vans. So all of those would be applicable here, that they would have to get a permit. But I have one 7 passenger van, so it sounds like I wouldn't need a permit for the 7 passenger van. So anyway, yeah, I was talking to the owner of another tour company, and he's saying, "Oh man, I'm just going to trade my van in for, like an 8 passenger." I don't know who makes 8 passenger vans, but he said he's going to trade his vans in for 8 passenger vans. So you get rid of your 15 passenger van and you get 2 7 or 8 passenger vans. So now you're going to have double the number of tour vans going to the same beach park instead of just one 15 passenger van. And this is the point that I've been making about the fact that they've been banning the tour companies from going to all these beaches, and then when the tourists get here and they find out that the tour company can't take them to Lanikai Beach or Kailua Beach or Waimanalo Beach or Pipeline or Sunset Beach or Haleiwa to see the turtles, then what they're going to do is they're going to get a rental car. Well, when the rental cars sell out, because I mean that's how we get a lot of our business, is the people go to the concierge wanting to get a rental car, and then they tell them that the rental cars are sold out, and so they book them a tour with us. So I mean, if the rental cars are legitimately sold out, like they are in the summertime when it's really busy, then now they have the option of just getting a car from Turo. And so then, the rental cars are kind of obvious, to spot, because they're always the convertible Mustang or Camaro, and they have the barcode on them, so you can tell that they were, they get scanned in and out at the tour companies. And so those are easy to spot. But when you're renting a car from a local on Turo, they just look like regular cars, Hondas and Toyotas and Lexus and, Mercedes or whatever. They just look, because they're, some local person's car that they're renting out on Turo. And so anyway, the point is that now instead of having one 15 passenger van at a beach park taking up one parking spot, now all of these people are going to be getting rental cars, and in most cases only 2 people per car, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. So let's say average 3 people per rental car instead of 15 people in one van taking up one parking spot. Now you're going to have rental cars taking up 5 parking spots instead of 1. And another point that I make is that when the individuals go to these beach parks, see, tour companies, they have an itinerary that they're trying to keep to. And so, they only stay at a certain place for a certain amount of time. So like that 90 minutes that you're allowed to do for a commercial stop, a recreational stop, in most cases, tour companies don't stay at a beach park for 90 minutes. So, because they have an itinerary, they're doing that circle route. It's 120 miles, and most tours are, up to 8 hours. So you got to do 120 mile route with about 15 stops in 8 hours. Tour companies can't stay at a beach park for very long because they have that itinerary that they're trying to keep. But an individual who decides, okay, well, today I'm going to go to such and such beach park on the east side, or the North Shore, okay, I'm going to go to Kailua Beach Park. They're going to pack a lunch, lay out a towel, go in the water and swim, come back out, lay on the towel again until they dry out. So they're going to end up being at that beach park, taking up the parking spaces for longer than what a tour company would have. And then they're adding to the traffic because now, they're going 2x2 or 3x3 in rental cars instead of one 15 passenger van. And they don't have a guide. They're on unfamiliar roads and they're driving, and they're trying to look at the scenery, so they're not paying attention to the road. They don't know where they're going. They don't have a tour guide with them to keep them safe, to tell them, hey, at rock piles or pipeline, don't walk past the wet beach line where it goes from dry sand to wet sand, or don't stand on the rocks at rock piles, because the waves may be calm right now, but about every 8 minutes you're going to get that rogue wave that's going to come and it's going to sweep you out. So I mean, that's something that a lot of this is coming from the community, but like I was telling my friend at the other tour company today, that the people in the community should actually be grateful to the tour companies. I mean, I know there are some charlatans out there, but for the ones that are following the rules and doing things right, the community should be grateful to these tour guides, because they are acting as lifeguards, mentors, cultural advisors, and all of these different positions that the city doesn't have to. I mean, if we prevent somebody from getting swept out into the ocean, that's less work that the lifeguards have to do, and the paramedics who have to come and do CPR on them. Like I saw at Turtle Bay, the little cove where everybody snorkels on the right side of Turtle Bay. I've been there a couple of times where people have told me, be careful because somebody died here yesterday. Well, it actually happened while I was there one day, and there's no lifeguard at that beach. So they had to call the lifeguards from somewhere, probably like Sunset Beach, to come down to Turtle Bay with the jet ski, go out through the channel and recover the body out in the open ocean. They had to leave one of their lifeguards out in the water in order to get the girl onto the jet ski and bring her back to the beach. And they performed CPR on her for like 20 minutes before one of the lifeguards realized, oh crap, one of our guys is still out in the water. So he jumped on the jet ski and went out and got him and brought him back. And then they performed CPR on this girl for another 20 minutes. And the ambulance came and they took her away in the ambulance. I mean, I was there when that happened, and this was at Turtle Bay in the little cove where everybody snorkels. There's no lifeguard there. But if they had had a tour guide, the tour guide could have told them, hey, you don't go on the left side of that cove past the orange buoys where that channel is, because all the water comes over the reef, fills up the cove, and then the water's got to go out somewhere, and it goes out through that channel, and if you're on that side of the cove, it's going to take you with it. So, and recently, like just before or during or just like after the reopening from COVID, there was like 2 incidences on Maui at like the 7 pools where they had the flash floods where the people got swept down the stream. If you had a legitimate tour guide that was concerned about your safety, because if somebody gets hurt or dies during the tour, your company's going to get sued for millions and shut down. If you had a responsible tour guide, they could take care of these people. Those people on Maui, 2 different instances, I think in both cases there was like 2 people swept out and 1 person died on each one. So I think that was 2 people that had died. But so you imagine these people going around in rental cars. They have no tour guide. They don't have anybody there to teach them about the culture and the history, what to do and what not to do, how to act, not to climb on the sensitive cultural sites. So I mean, we fulfill all of these positions, lifeguard, mentor, and all of those that I was trying to mention, but I'm running out of time. I need to wrap this up. Because I'm almost at 1 hour. All right, so I'll put the links to the bill and everything in the description below, so you guys can check it out. But it took me a while to comb through this to figure out what it was, because dude, it's 28 pages. Bill 19, year 2023.